Israel's massive ground invasion began in Gaza. Gideon Chariot, is that an attempt to conquer Gaza, expel the Gazans, and make it Trump land? Well, we'll talk about this soon, but either way, the Gazans have woke up to one morning of hell. So much firepower from the air, from the land. The attack was kickstarted by a team of 9 special forces dressed like women who infiltrated Gaza and went and eliminated one of Hamas leaders. And as they were extracting, all hell broke loose and Israel started invading Gaza in the largest invasion that we've seen probably since the beginning of this war. We're talking big guns. Now, sending the special forces usually ahead of a big attack is something that is commonly used in modern warfare because what happens is when you bring the big guns, a lot of these cowards, they just dig themselves down and start hiding even more. And when it comes to these cowards, Hamas, they usually dig themselves deeper in the ground and start better using human shields, which have become sadly a national sport in Gaza. The Israel national sport is beach tennis, matkot. Gaza national sport is human shields, terrorism, and abducting human beings. Either way, we're seeing heavy fire being used right now as Israel is advancing. So let's read a little bit. Over 250 dead, entire neighborhoods flattened. The IDF is not holding back. As Trump's Middle East visit ends, Israel stands at historic crossroad. Will it strike a deal or launch a full-scale ground invasion into Gaza? Hamas, as usual, shocked and surprised by the daring operation of the special forces, have sent out an order not to trust anyone and to be extra suspicious toward women and elderly people. I mean, guys, here's a friendly tip. Maybe if you stop abusing women, forcing them to cover themselves, then the West will stop using women to fool and trick you guys and to defeat you in your own field. Just a tip. Throwing it out there might help you start progressing forward as a society rather than keep moving backwards to the day of the prophet. Now, this is not just a revenge. This is a preparation for something bigger. Military officials are being clear. This is not just a random attack or just one of the next attacks that we'll be doing for the last 2 years. Something bigger is happening here. They're mobilizing forces, if it's on the ground, on the air. They're using the Air Force to strike down, I think it was about more than 650 targets to help prepare for the ground invasion. You see, in Gaza, they basically booby-trapped every single house. They booby-trapped every street. They made it a nightmare for urban warfare, especially when you're trying to minimize civilian casualties because they're trying to maximize civilian casualties. It makes it very difficult. So the IDF is already going and strategically eliminating some of these targets to make it safer and easier. Meanwhile, sending the Gazans, again, flyers, templates, SMSs, phone calls, get out of there, we're coming. The goal was to destroy Hamas stronghold, force the population to move south so they can clear this area for combat, and pave the way for the Operation Gideon Chariots. That's a pretty cool name, let's admit that, for a full-on armored ground invasion. Now, you see, Israel's goals were very clear from the beginning. Bring back the hostages, destroy Hamas. None of these things have happened willingly by Hamas or by the Gazans, so Israel is basically taking it up to the next level right now. You don't want to bring them, we're going to bring them. You don't want to surrender, we're going to make you surrender. We're going to make you disappear. And this is all coming right after Donald Trump's visit to Qatar, where they kind of reached a dead end. Because, you know, they keep talking, and I hope that Donald Trump is not falling for it, but they keep saying ceasefire, ceasefire, but the only one that is actually refusing the ceasefire is Hamas. And because they're, you know, because they're Hamas. So there's some report that Steve Woodcuff threw the towel down and said, I'm giving up. Israel, do what you want. Now let's take a tactical pause. Despite the heavy fire that has been used, Israel is still using precise airstrikes. Israel is still making sure that no civilians unnecessary should be hit or hurt. In general, like I said in my last video, many of the civilians in Gaza are Hamas. They're either informers, you know, either their eyes on the ground, or they're literally the terrorists themselves. So anyone that is not leaving this war zone after he gets the call, guys, we're coming with so much power, it kind of leaves his fate in his own hand. Israel have given their chance. Get out of there or deal with the consequences. Either way, it looks like Israel have taken their gloves down and are ready to roll in and conquer Gaza. It's going to be interesting where this is going to be in next week or two. So let's hear it out from my good friend Adaf Shoshani as an official statement from the IDF.
IDF ground forces in active and reserve duty have advanced operations in northern and southern Gaza. This is the start of Operation Gideon's Chariot, a new phase in the fight against Hamas. After the October 7th massacre, our mission is clear. Bring our hostages home and dismantle Hamas's military and governing capabilities. Over the past week, the Israeli Air Force struck over 670 Hamas targets, tunnels, weapon sites, anti-tank units, and terrorists. Now, our troops are operating deep in Gaza, eliminating threats, destroying terror infrastructure, and taking control of key areas. This is what we plan on doing. Give advance warnings to uninvolved civilians to make sure they get out of harm's way. Control the battlefield. Protect Israeli civilians and dismantle Hamas's leadership and capabilities. Dozens of terrorists have been eliminated. The Air Force continues to strike with precision. This won't end overnight, but we'll fight until Hamas is no longer a threat and our hostages are released. The mission continues.
Like I said, things are very clear here. The objects of this war are very clear. Bring back the hostages, the children that you kidnapped from Israel, and dismantle Hamas, because Hamas keeps saying that they want to do an October 7 again and again. So my name is Mansour. I'm a former IDF officer and a member of the Special Forces. And I just want to remind you guys, do the like, click, whole shebang. And if you want to support this channel, go and check my Patreon for practical, direct way to support this channel. Now let's bring you a little bit of insight from the world of combat. Special Forces operation that went inside Gaza and was supposed to bring that commander alive ended up killing him. He probably was trying to fight back. You see, there's a big strategic advantage to sending the Special Forces ahead of the camp to do these things. Why? Because if you manage to kidnap a high-ranking officer from the enemy camp right before you start the attack, you have just captured a treasure of intel information. Because first of all, you can get from him a lot of information about who is who, where they are, what are their plans, what are their weaknesses, and etc. and etc. And further, the other commanding officers, the other forces don't have time to adjust and to prepare. One of the rules that they tell special forces, if they ever get caught behind enemy line, they know you're going to break under interrogations. No one can stand for long under interrogations. So what they tell you is try to prolong the time until you give them the information for a day, 2 or 3, a week if you can. And then obviously we can't expect you to start holding back because they're literally torturing the living life out of you. So these crucial moments in the beginning of the war, capturing these commanders alive is very, very strategic. And it's not just a one-off operation. And that's why I always say the ones that wins the wars are the infantry and the tanks, but the ones that can change the tide are usually the espionage and the special forces, because they can bring you a card, because they can bring you a new card to the table that can change the tide of the game. We saw that with the pager attack, in Lebanon. That literally, that little nerd attack on Hezbollah destroyed Hezbollah. And here's a very interesting insight. When I was doing my negotiation training in the army, I had the guy who was training me was named Abadi, a very brilliant Jewish man. I think he grew up in Egypt and he knew the Arab world very well. And we were sitting over a coffee and talking about life. And he mentioned to me something about the disengagement from Gaza back then, about how devastating it's going to be for Israel. And I kind of agreed with him, but I didn't understand how much he was right. He said that one of the biggest mistakes was when we pulled out of Gaza is that we took all the human source with us. We just lost the human and we're completely relying on the signal. And by that, he was talking about the information that you can get from the ground by having your own spies and your own people in the ground that can call you immediately or point you and direct you, or you can just send a special unit to meet with them and they will take them in the night and show them that's here, that's there, do this, do that. We pretty much lost all of that when we disengaged from Gaza. And we're relying only on technology, and Israel have great technology, but we've seen how Hamas was able to override that and come. I've been in war rooms where the Shabak was talking to operators on the ground in Gaza. That was when we were still in Gaza, and was giving them live information about here, they're doing that, they're doing this, they're dressed like this, they're going to try to trick you, don't fall for that ambush, and etc. This is crucial information right now with what's happening in Gaza, with this whole chaos that is happening in Gaza and in Syria. I can assure you that the IDF is going to take advantage of the situation. Is going to send more and more of its people to be embedded among the population so they can bring better information and also increase the chance of retrieving the hostages and defending the forces on the ground. That special operation that was done, again, we don't know exactly which unit did it. I said in my last video, if you want the best fighters, send them out. If you want the smartest fighters, send Sayed Matkali. If you want the craziest fighters, they're kind of a mix of the two and can do all of the stuff, send Yamas. They're fearless and they've been trained. This is their bread and butter. Or maybe have a mix and a combination of all these units together and do that. Either way, there's a lot of things that are happening right now in Gaza, and I'm going to keep a close eye so I can give you the best update of what's happening. Now, is Israel truly planning on conquering Gaza and making it the Trump Riviera and kicking all the Gazans out? Well, we do have a lot of reports right now of many Gazans that are starting to go into neighboring countries, basically Many of them are actually flying into Europe and Canada, by the way. Just heads up, guys. Quite a lot of them are going right now into neighboring Arab countries and fleeing Gaza. And when you look at it, there's literally not a single house standing in Gaza.
من أعظم الانتصارات اللي احنا حققناها في حرب 7 أكتوبر إنه اليهود ما خلوناش ولا دار ولا دار، كله نايم منوم. يعني للأمانة عندهم عدل، لا حدا أحسن من حدا ولا حدا يتشمت في حدا، نيموا كل الدور، واللي مش نايم حينام، يعني ما تقلقوش. طبعا احنا بنشكر اليهود وبنشكر حماس اللي جابت لنا الحرب، عن جد للأمانة إشي فوقري. هاي في مجاعة غير قاعدين بغوشوا الناس على التكية، الله يقطع التكية ويقطع الحرب ويقطع اللي بده يعيش في غزة. آمن بالله كلاب ما بتعيش. تفرجوا، هذا نقطة من بحر، يعني الباقي لسه في أحياء انبادت على اللي فيها واللي في قلبها واللي. شكرا يا الله، شكرا حماس، شكرا إسرائيل، وشكرا إن احنا ضلنا عايشين في غزة. سلام.
So that, in some aspect, that is the humanitarian thing to do. And I tend to agree with Donald Trump when he came in and said they have nothing left there to live for. In general, the way I see it, at least, nothing good comes out of radical jihadist Muslims when they take over land. There's no hope for Gaza with these people still in Gaza. So send them to places where they can feel at home. Send them to Syria, to Afghanistan, to Iraq, to places that they can keep doing what they like to do, oppressing women, oppressing minorities, throwing LGBTQ people out of rooftops and I don't know what. Having them stay in that region is not good for them, it's not good for Israel. And right now, that full-scale invasion that is entering Gaza, well, it's going to be very interesting. So I'm going to be keeping for you a close look on these events and try to bring you the best explanation of what is happening based from my military experience and my political understanding, and also from being an Israeli Arab that understands the Middle East because I literally grew up in the Middle East. So either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like I always say, do the share, like, subscribe, the whole shebang. And Patreon helps my channel a lot. And yeah, just don't do anything stupid in general. Just don't do anything that I would do. Which is, in this case, if you invade a nation, kill their people, burn alive families, kidnap their children, and then go and hide behind your own women and children as human shields, you don't get to have the privilege of crying and whining when the other side comes and beat the cow poop out of you. And this is exactly what Israel is doing right now, and I hope that they win. Now, will Hamas surrender? Probably not. These people are religious radicals. They would rather watch the world burn down than surrender. Will the Gazans turn over Hamas and start kicking them out? Highly unlikely, because like I said, the problem with Gaza is not Hamas, the problem is that the Gazans are Hamas, the majority of them. So is the option of displacing the Gazans and sending them to all kind of corners of the earth so they can go and rage havoc somewhere else? Probably most definitely it's in the interest of Israel and the Middle East. Let's be honest about it. Anywhere that you've sent Palestinians so far, they only brought death, destruction, and terrorism. Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, basically Egypt. That's why these countries don't want them. So let's see how this goes. This is a very interesting invasion, and we're definitely seeing the IDF lifting it up a notch. Quite a big notch, I would say. It's still not the full power of the IDF, but it's a serious notch. So see you next time, guys. And yeah, that's all for today.